So moving on to our next category, and this is one that I actually struggled with this category a lot. This is the reinventing the wheel.
Yeah. This is a category that may not come back in future award shows.
I take it you had just as difficult of a time.
Yeah, it was tough to choose for this. The core idea of the reinventing the wheel category was to highlight games that took an old formula and made it new again, or made it feel new again, at least, you know. And I was trying to aim more for, like, really retro style, you know, like platformers, Metroidvanias, shmups, like stuff like very arcadey and old school. And we'll see how that turned out when we reveal our categories, or reveal our picks. But it's one of those where, yeah, like I honestly had a hard time more thinking of 3 games to put in the category that I actually played necessarily than like just, you know, having trouble deciding which games to put in the category. So for my bronze pick at number 3, Golf Story for the Switch, which honestly I haven't played yet, but I've heard good things and I've seen a lot of gameplay. So I only played so many games this year, I'm sorry. But I love, like, just from seeing other people play Golf Story, I already love the idea of taking essentially a classic JRPG style of presentation and combining it with Neo Turf Masters, or any of your classic golf games, like your really classic golf games. Golf for the Atari 2600.
I'm sorry, you just triggered me by saying Neo Turf Masters. Those that have been following us for a little while know that Mitch and I have a long, storied past with Neo Turf Masters.
Are you gonna, like, freeze frame, put in the Ironside music, and start, like, some flashing red lights on your screen? Slow zoom. Just... Pew, 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 pew,
pew, pew, loser.
Do, da, 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 da. But, so that's Golf Story. A fun little game for the Switch that I'm really looking forward to playing when I get a chance. In second place for Silver, I chose Snake Pass. Which, again, like, I've played a little bit of it. I picked it up on Steam pretty recently, and I messed around with it a little bit. And I watch a lot of snooty game critics on YouTube, or at least, like, people who think too much about games, maybe. Like, you know, Super Bunny Hop and a lot of, like, game mechanics, like, oriented YouTube channels that are like, look at this game, it does a cool thing. Themes, emotions. But, David Cage. Snake Pass, I really like the way it takes the 3D platformer and flatforms it into the 3D snakeformer. Saving it.
You were gonna say flatpormer.
Shut up, though.
Flatpormer, that's gonna be the name of my new, like, prog rock band.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I love the idea of Snake Pass. It seems like a really cool game. I'm looking forward to playing more of it. And just the way it takes stuff like Banjo-Kazooie and, you know, Super Mario 64, all that whole genre of games, and not only, you know, comes back to it, you know, just in terms of aesthetics and look and stuff, but radically reinvents the genre by twisting it on its head, taking away your arms and legs, and turning it into more of, like, a puzzle game than necessarily a platformer. And, like, the way the snake controls is really clever.
Yeah, mechanically, I love the game.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't even think about that for this category, I'll be very honest, but mechanically, it's so much fun to play. And, you know, Suzanne particularly loved to gravitate toward it because, I mean, we own 3 snakes.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, oh, cool. We actually, we had a milk snake that was kind of patterned after that one, so we actually named it Noodle.
Nice. I thought of it very last minute for this category. Like, originally I had something else there, and I was like, wait, fuck, Snake Pass. But my number one, to I think probably no one's surprise, the game I said I could just easily spend 6 hours playing Hollow Knight. Just for taking, it's a Metroidvania. They added some Souls-like elements with when you die, you have to go back to where you died and defeat your ghost to get like your full health bar back. The healing and magic system, which is one system, really fucking cool and smart and a very good way to like balance the game and force you to kind of mix multiple gameplay elements together. It's just really solid. It's a really well put together Metroidvania. The fast travel systems, are like spaced out pretty much perfectly, so you can travel easily enough, but you still have to do like that right amount of backtracking.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I loved the benches for, instead of your save rooms, you just have those benches you sit on that heal you and
I just love the aesthetic of that too. It's just like where it's like you're sitting on a bench, like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah, you just like fold your hand in your lap and like, it's peaceful. Not getting killed by anything. Nobody's talking about my destiny or how I'm maybe like the king's weird science son. It's nice. But yeah, Hollow Knight just took the Metroidvania and really nailed it. Just absolutely hit the mark for that type of game for me. So yeah.
Yeah. All right, yeah. This category, if this doesn't come back next year, I don't know if I'm going to cry too much.
Yeah.
Because I like the idea, but like this is,
it might come back as like an honorable mentions type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, rather than like a full-blown category. Like, here's a couple games that we thought were really cool this year, or did something interesting.
So, all right, for my top 3 of the Reinventing the Wheel category, at number 3, I have Super Mario Odyssey.
Yes.
Yes, because on a console where you could have just made another 3D Mario collectathon like Mario 64 or Mario Sunshine, what I've loved about every Mario, like 3D Mario specifically since Mario 64, is that a new mechanic keeps getting added every single time that makes it feel like nothing you've ever played, even though it's the same sort of, the concept. It's a collectathon. You gotta do this, you gotta go through this mission, you gotta just, grind, and all 120 shines, 121 stars, 9,999 moons.
Seriously? It's 9,000? Holy shit.
I don't think that's the actual amount, but I know it's
a shit ton. I know that.
It's dumbly high. It is just absurd. Like, I know Nintendo doesn't want us to do anything but play their games, but let me go outside once.
Yeah, I already had to get like 900 Korok seeds to 100% Legend of Zelda. Now you're telling me there's 900 moons, and I gotta buy clothes.
And them Super Mario nips.
So tasty.
Sweet nips.
Yeah.
At number 2, I had Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for its ability to take your normal 3D Zelda and turn it into not another rehash of Majora's Mask or Wind Waker or anything like that, where those 3 games fundamentally felt the same.
Yeah.
And then Breath of the Wild comes out, and there's still some, the fundamental Zelda combat and everything like that. But then it adds in the weapon health, which I will be very honest, drove me fucking insane. The survivability of, like, you can't go into this cold place without warm clothes or hot food, or both.
Yeah.
I just felt like it did more than the previous Zelda entries, and I was talking to the Rock Game Dev guys about this, that when Zelda went from Link to the Past to Ocarina of Time, when it went from 2D overhead to 3D, that was how I envisioned Zelda evolving into 3D. Like, that's why I think I love this game more than any of the other 3D Zelda games, just because that was what I had in mind. And they pulled it off perfectly.
Yeah. And there's that whole thing where, like, Breath of the Wild, like, the design process, they actually started from the first Zelda game way back on the NES. And, like, that was kind of the feeling they were going for. And, like, for designing their world, I think they used, like, like, their old level editor or something to kind of rough out, like, here's how the world's going to be laid out. So it's cool to see it, like, kind of going back around in this karmic wheel of Zelda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one, for my gold medal, and I touched on this earlier, is Resident Evil 7.
Hey, good call.
Because it took a series that had sort of become stale and was really just sort of the times where it turned from the survival horror, like you will run out of ammo super quick. You have all this, you have to ration out ammo, herbs, everything like that, and pick what you need to fight. And then it went from 4, 5, and 6 where it was like, oh, let's just play Gears of War, but it's zombies and weird African demon things.
It went down the same, like, there's this trope where all horror things eventually become action things. Like, it happens super hard to Dead Space over just 3 games.
Yeah.
And even stuff like Halloween and Friday the 13th movies, like, the first couple Friday the 13th are scary movies. And then it just turns into, like, schlock and kind of cheesy, like, comedy slapstick shit.
How funny can we make this head explode so it spatters on the camera?
Yeah, exactly. So, like, for Resident Evil to come back from that is really impressive. And, like, to do it well and flawlessly even. Or maybe not flawlessly.
To do it well, to the point where it's... No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just saying, to the point where it's actually, like, scary and terrifying again, and, like, it feels, like, constricting again, instead of just being Chris punches a boulder, and then punches Wesker, and then Wesker dies in a volcano.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is, like, Resident Evil, like, 1, 2, I mean, there was a lot of, like... To an extent, it was kind of jump scary, where it was like, oh my god, sun just popped out of a wall. This is just genuine. You are stuck in a situation no human being should ever be stuck in, scared shitless, like collapsed anus scared.
Yeah. And it's so dreadful. Like, even when you're away from a threat, there's always that kind of lingering, like, what if Jack just shows up? Not even, like, scary, like, ooh, pops through a wall. Just, like, Jack starts... he comes to your location, you hear him coming for you. Like, ooh, give me the willies.
That game with, like, surround sound or, like, 5.1 headphones where you can actually, hear full stereo everything.
Yeah.
You might as well piss your pants. Like, you can hear him, like, directly behind you until, like, where you yourself are looking behind you, like, what was that? Like, if I owned a PSVR, like, outside of what I was playing at the convention, I would have that game just for fun.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah, one of those, like, okay, you know what? I'm having a good day. I want to ruin it. Let's play Resident Evil. Excuse me.
That just randomly gave me an idea to make, like, headphones with, like, sensors, like Wiimote style sensors in them that can detect what direction you're looking. So you could play a game, and then, like, if you get, they'd be stereo headphones, and then if the game wanted you to hear something from behind you, it'd play the sound, you'd be like, where is it? And it could actually detect, like, oh, you're turning your head, I'm going to put the sound in this speaker now, rather than that speaker, or something. Just randomly brain going.
I said, I feel like that sort of technology
VR headsets already
still
do that.
Yeah.
Huh?
I was just, the technology exists for it.
Yeah. It had just, yeah. Random thoughts. Anyway, patent pending.